त्वं प्रत्यक् आत्मनि तदा भगवति अनन्ता आनन्दमात्र उपपन्न समस्तशक्तौ भक्तिं विधाय परमां सनकैरविद्या ग्रन्थिं विभत्स्यसि ममाहमिति प्ररूढम् त्वं प्रत्यक् आत्मनि तदा भगवति अनन्ता आनन्दमात्र उपपन्न समस्तशक्तौ भक्तिं विधाय परमां सनकैरविद्या ग्रन्थिं विभत्स्यसि ममाहमिति प्ररूढम् त्वं प्रत्यक् आत्मनि तदा भगवति अनन्ता आनन्दमात्र उपपन्न समस्तशक्तौ भक्तिं विधाय परमां सनकैरविद्या ग्रन्थिं विभत्स्यसि ममाहमिति प्ररूढम् त्वं प्रत्यक् आत्मनि तदा भगवति अनन्ता आनन्दमात्र उपपन्न समस्तशक्तौ भक्तिं विधाय परमां सनकैरविद्या ग्रन्थिं विभत्स्यसि ममाहमिति प्ररूढम्. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Thus, regaining your natural position and rendering service unto Supreme Lord, who is the all-powerful reservoir of all pleasure, and who lives in all living entities as Super Soul, you will very soon forget the illusory understanding of I and my. Please listen carefully. Thus, regaining your natural position and rendering service unto the Supreme Lord, who is the all-powerful reservoir of all pleasure, and who lives in all living entities as the Super Soul, you will very soon forget the illusory representation of I and my. Therefore, Dhruva Maharaja was already a liberated person because at the age of 5 years he had seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But even though liberated, he was for the time being afflicted by the illusion of Maya, thinking himself the brother of Uttama in the bodily concept of life. The whole material world is working on the basis of I and mine. This is the root of attraction to the material world. If one is attracted by this root of illusory conceptions, I and mine, he will have to remain within this material world in different exalted or nasty positions. By the grace of Lord Krishna, the sages and Lord Manu reminded Dhruva Maharaja that he should not continue this material conception of I and mine. Simply by devotional service unto the Lord, his illusion could be eradicated without difficulty. Om Tat Sat. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Dhyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lamyayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyam Ishwaram. Aham Mameti, I and mine. This is the material disease. Prabhupada is writing that the whole material world is working on this basis of I and mine. Is this true or not? Even we see it is saying that even children, they are very innocent. They are like representing gods. In Hindi we say बच्चे भगवान का स्वरूप होते हैं. So, but even to them, this is very prominent, I and mine. However innocent, the living entity may look in this material world, but our existence of material existence is revolving around this I and mine. What is this I and mine? It starts with the material desire to enjoy this world. As soon as we get an opportunity to enjoy, then we start possessing that mind, I and mine. So for enjoying this material world, we assume different types of identity. Like in particular species, particular life, we have particular type of taste, and we are having that rasa, having that bhoga. For as a human being, we have particular taste. In other species of life, we'll have a particular taste. For example, this child itself, we take this example. This child is there, he's got a taste to enjoy with the toys. So, as soon as he sees the toys, he becomes restless. He wants to possess that. He wants to have the toy. Then, as soon as he gets the toy, starts playing that. Though this toy is not belongs to him, but after some time he starts thinking it is mine. And when the toy is taken from him back, then he starts resisting it. So this concept I and mine goes on like that throughout our life. First we hanker for enjoyment, and then we naturally start possessing it. So this I and mine is very, very prominent. That is the root cause of our material existence. Very, very difficult to get out of this. Throughout life you'll be thinking in these terms only, I and mine. Even when we have become devotees, we are practicing devotees, we will see this is there. Maybe it will reduce, but still it remains prominent. See that there is a story of Ramanujacharya that he had one very nice Grahastha couple, and he was giving so much attention to them. Then he had also there were many brahmacharis, sannyasis following him, great acharya. So the other brahmacharis, sannyasis, they were thinking, what is special in this Grahastha couple that they are getting special attention from my Guru Maharaj. And then they were sort of a little being envious, what is that? And they wanted to understand this. Ramanujacharya could read their mind. So he told them that you go, see, we need so much funds to complete this project, and I have seen that that lady has got golden bangles and these things. So you should get that, but you should get in such a way that husband does not know and they also don't know. So while this taking rest, she is alone, you go and get that. So his disciples, they went and then found that she is taking rest, is in sleep. Then they went to remove the bangle, and they came very carefully so that she is not disturbed, and they started removing the bangle. And as the bangle were being removed, she actually got up, but she kept herself. She did not reveal that she is awakened, because she saw that his god brothers, they are there and removing the bangles. Then she immediately understood that they are actually in need of funds, and they have been sent by Ramanujacharya himself. So she was very careful so that they don't realize that she has awakened, so that they will run away. So she was still uh, pretending that she is fast asleep. And then when one side bangle is removed, then they were thinking how to remove the second side bangle. Then she turned her eye, it's like making pretending herself, and she turned around and kept her hand like so that they can easily remove the bangle. So they got these bangles and they felt very successful, and they went. And on some other occasion in the ashram, these devotees, they did not have much of possession. They have very few things, some clothings. In that, there were coffins were hanged on the some string, and they were fight among them. That no, this belongs to me. For some piece of cloth. So we're seeing that even point is that even when we practicing devotional life, when we are trying to understand that everything belongs to Krishna, Krishna is the real possessor. Still, this possessing tendencies remains is very deep rooted inside the chitta consciousness of the living entity. Very difficult to completely uproot that. It's very difficult to completely uproot that. So, therefore, we are given an opportunity to constantly practice this. Like whenever we get something, we offer it to the Lord. While doing this, when we are preparing some bhoga for the Lord, or we are getting something and we are bringing it to the Lord, very gradually we are getting rid of this tendency of I and mine. We start thinking in terms of, it is not for my enjoyment, it is for the pleasure of the Lord. We would have all felt that initially when we were not offering to the Lord, then we will be always thinking, oh, this is what, how it will taste, how I am going to feel it, how it will be, all for our pleasure, for our sense gratification we may be cooking. But then when we started offering to the Lord, still it will be like that only. We will be cooking for our things, but we are offering to the Lord. It goes on for some few months. Then slowly when we are doing this, then our consciousness remains getting purified. Then we start actually thinking that how the Lord will enjoy and how I should cook, what I should cook, so that it will be, He will feel nice. So gradually, we change from one type of consciousness to other type of consciousness. But still, it remains deeply rooted inside. It's difficult to get rid unless until we are very sincere. Here in this example, we see that Prabhupada is telling even Dhruva Maharaja was already a liberated person, because at the age of 5 years, he had seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 5 years, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayana, felt obliged to be present himself, because he was so determined and sincere that the Lord was petitioned by all the devas that please go and give your darshan. He is waiting to see you. Then only we can all be relieved. And the Lord, he appeared in front of him, and he was in fully liberated person, not in bodily concept of life, but to him also, for momentarily he was afflicted by this thinking that I am king of Bharatvarsha, and I have younger son Uttama, which has been killed by this one of these yakshas, and how dare they do this? Do they not know that he was my brother? So I am going to teach them lesson, and I'll remove their whole race itself. That's the actually Kshatriya spirit. So that in future no one else will dare to do with me. So this was his thinking. It's based on I and mine. That I am so and so, and Uttama is my brother. So Prabhupada is writing that even to him this was for momentarily. So for great devotees in life, this incident happens. Sometimes Krishna wants through their examples to teach all others. So we see that how Arjuna was put into illusion. It was arrangement of Lord Sri Krishna so that he can teach Bhagavad Gita through Arjuna, to take him as an example and take him as a person whom he can deliver Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, we see here that Dhruva Maharaj also is put into such situation where he is thinking like this, and then Lord is making an arrangement where great sages are coming and talking to him, and then his grandfather Swambhu Manu is coming and speaking to him. So in this way he is getting free from this illusion. So we see another point we can notice here, that how Dhruva Maharaja, because he was all great sages and Swambhu Manu were his well-wishers, so he was saved. So it's very important to keep ourselves in the company of devotees. In the company of devotees we can remain protected. If we just come out of company of devotees, then it's actually impossible to practice Krishna consciousness, especially for neophyte devotees like ourselves. It's very, very difficult. It's impossible. Immediately we are actually looking for some opportunity, but in association of devotees we remain safer. So you'll see that Manu Maharaj, he came and he is instructing him. We'll see that Manu Maharaj's instructions, his translations. Manu Maharaj is also pure devotee of the Lord, and he has seen the Lord several times, and he's got the Lord as his grandson, his son, like that. So it's a very exalted position. He's also the son of Lord Brahma. So his instructions are very, very important. Few of these we will read. This whole chapter is entitled as Swambhu Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj. So when Swambhu Manu saw that his grandson Dhruva Maharaja was killing so many of the yakshas who were not actually offenders, out of his great compassion, he approached Dhruva with great sages to give him good instructions. So he also came and he also brought the great sages along with him. Why he did so? It's mentioned that because Dhruva is his grandson, naturally he is very affectionate on him, and he's saying that he's seeing that he is now getting deviated from bhakti, getting deviated from his duty. Then he is immediately felt great compassion and came there. So it's very important. We see this compassion is very, very important. How Prabhupada was feeling so much compassion that he was nicely situated in Vrindavana, but he was always thinking, how can I go to the west and deliver all these people? And he was so much thinking that he was always working on it. And then he left Vrindavana and he took so much difficulties to make people devotees. So this compassion is very important. This compassion is sign of actually life. When person who is actually life surely will have compassion. Even it is said a person who is not compassionate, he said he is like a dead man. Person is not compassionate, there is no mercy inside his heart. He said he is like a stone-hearted. It's compared with the dead matter. There's a quote of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur where he's telling that a person who has a compassion can preach, who has a life can preach. Means who has a compassion can preach. Person who has life can preach. This is a quote of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So you see that Swayambhu Manu is feeling greatly compassionate on Dhruva. He came and he brought some sages also. And he is telling, my dear son, please stop. It is not good to become unnecessarily angry. It is the path to hellish life. Now you are going beyond the limits by killing yakshas who are actually not offenders. So now Dhruva Maharaj is being so many people is killing. But though he is killing so many people, all the yakshas are getting benefited only. It is mentioned elsewhere here that all of them they were getting promoted to higher planets. They were all getting purified because the arrows of Dhruva Maharaj was touching them. So there is no history where a person is cursed or affected by pure devotees is lost anything. They benefit. However they come in contact with devotee, they benefit. There are so many examples of this, like how Nal Kubera, they were delivered just by Narad Muni becoming angry upon them. And he cursed them. Actually it was a blessings in disguise, not an ordinary blessings. Nal Kubera would have completely spoiled and entered into darkest life of lower species, to hellish conditions. But this was Narad Muni's great mercy that they were able to personally witness all the childhood pastimes of the Lord. What can be more mercy than this? They were standing in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaja, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, and they are witnessing all the sweetest pastimes of the Lord. And outwardly, Narad Muni is so angry and he cursed them that you become a tree. So, when we are actually chastised or corrected by Vaishnavas, we actually benefit. We become purified. There are so many examples of that. So yes, though Dhruva Maharaj is angry and is killing all these yakshas, they are all getting promoted. But now Manu Maharaj is coming to intervene so that Dhruva Maharaja on this, playing this role may not get deviated. Out of his own feeling, compassion, he is coming and correcting him. He is telling, now you are going beyond the limit by killing yakshas who are not actually offenders. My dear son, the killing of the sinless yakshas which you have undertaken is not at all approved by authorities, and it does not befit our family, which is supposed to know the laws of religion and irreligion. So he's telling, no, in our family we don't do like this. Our Kula Dharma is not to kill people who are innocent. Nobody has done. You are the first person who is going to do like this. My dear son, it has been proved that you are very much affectionate towards your brother and are greatly aggrieved at his being killing by the yakshas. But just consider, for one yaksha's offense, you have killed many others who are innocent. So you see that how Swayambhu Manu is counseling Dhruva Maharaj. He is making him to realize. First thing is to make him realize his mistake. So he's saying that, see, for one yaksha who did mistake, now you are killing so many of them. So is it proper? One should not accept the body as the self and thus, like the animals, kill the bodies of others. This is especially forbidden by saintly persons who follow the path of devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is even a moral principles that why unnecessarily give trouble to others. But for devotees, surely we should not do that. Studying for saintly persons who follow the path of devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead, this should never be done. Because the Lord is sitting in all the living entities as Paramatma, and He is having such an intimate relationship with all of them, with all the living entities. Therefore He is present all the time with them. So, and also he experiences, he feels all the pains and pleasures felt by the living entities. So when he sees that this particular living entities is caused so much of pain, actually he is not pleased. The Lord is actually he feels displeased. So it is not devotees' business to displease the Lord. So therefore the devotees especially they avoid giving unnecessarily pain, cause disturbance to other living entities. This is all he is speaking to, instructing to Dhruva Maharaj. It is very difficult to achieve the spiritual abode of Hari in Vaikuntha planet. It's very difficult to achieve the spiritual abode of Hari in the Vaikuntha planets. But you are so fortunate that you are already destined to go to that abode by worshipping him as the supreme abode of all living entities. The Lord has assured Dhruva Maharaja when he saw him, that you will come back to me. We will just rule this earthly planet for 36,000 years. After that, you will come back to me. So it was granted for him. So that's what he is reminding him. That is very difficult to actually get that abode, but you have already promised that you will reach there. Because you are pure devotee of the Lord is always thinking of you. And you are also recognized by all confident devotees, confidential devotees. Your life is meant for exemplary behavior. I am therefore surprised, why have you undertaken such an abominable task? So how nicely he is convincing Dhruva Maharaja, no, give it up, don't do this. The Lord is very satisfied with his devotees when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship and equality. Titikchaya karunya maitra chakila jantusu samatvena cha sarvatma bhagavan samprasidati. Very, very pleased, saying the Lord is very, very pleased. Samprasidati, very, very pleased. When he sees his devotees greet other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship and equality. This is how we should deal with others. Tolerance, mercy, friendship and equality. One who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. He's saying that how we can be relieved from distress and experience the highest bliss. Saying that's only possible by serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by satisfying him. So there is a long instructions, and in today's verse it said that thus regaining your natural position and rendering service unto the Supreme Lord, who is all powerful reservoir of all pleasures and who lives in all living entities as a super soul, you will very soon forget the illusory understanding of I and mine. So, how to become free from this concept I and mine? She said, we have to engage ourselves in devotional service. What is our real identity is? Jiver Swarup hai Krishna Nitya Das. That is our real identity. We are all servant of Krishna. That is our real identity. Initially, we may not feel like that, but when we, even theoretically and practically, we are ourselves engaged in service of the Lord, then we will see that at one point of time, we will recognize as servant of the Lord. We will understand I am servant of the Lord. So that's our natural position. In the spiritual world, every living entity has got relationship with the Lord. There are 5 types of relationship: Santirasya, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhurya. In all these relationships, the service attitude is common. This is the bottom line. that everyone feels that they should render service to the Lord. So this cultivating this service attitude is foremost item for a practitioner, for a sadhaka. So we should never falsely think that I am master. We are not the masters. We are the servant. You see, the Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was considered as a lion guru, and he will be speaking so boldly, and all his disciples will be so much afraid of him. But whenever he replied to message of his disciples, their letters, always he will say, Daswas, I am your servant. And then he write his name. So that's the mood of actually pure devotees. So he is playing the role of a spiritual master as as his service. It's not that he is commanding that. As his service, he is playing this role of being a instructor, a spiritual master. And therefore he is speaking very strongly. And he is able to do that because he is perfectly situated in that consciousness that this is my service to correct you. And he will be very bold to speak. He will be very bold to preach. He was so bold that even people who were atheists were scared of him. And he was influencing so many people, and all those people became so envious of him that they wanted to kill him. But he was not at all afraid, but he is always depending upon the Lord. So, to become free from this concept of I and mine, we have to engage ourselves in devotional service. Otherwise, it is not possible. Artificially, we may say so many things that no, I am out of this, all this concept, I don't think. But internally, we will see that this is very prominent. It's only we can get rid of this by mercy of a pure devotee. You see here that how Swambhu Manu is coming and reminding him. So it's very important to keep ourselves in association of devotees and engage in devotional service. Isolate, we may think that we can stay in a corner somewhere and render devotional service, but then we will not actually progress. We will not have a tangible progress. So association of devotees is very important. Practicing Krishna consciousness in association of devotees. Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra in association of devotees. In the association of devotees, actually this becomes more realizable. Whatever we are doing becomes more realizable, and we are on safer side. Prabhupada is writing, simply by devotional service unto the Lord, his illusion could be eradicated without difficulty. Simply by devotional service unto the Lord, his illusion could be eradicated without difficulty. So we should keep ourselves engaged in associate devotional devotees in devotional service. Then we will see that we will become liberated. Liberation means hitva anyatha rupam swarupena vyavasthiti. Mukti hitva anyatha rupam swarupena vyavasthiti. To be situated in one's own constitutional position. That is how it is defined as mukti. These people, everyone talk about mukti. What is mukti? Mukti means to be situated in our own constitutional position as servant of Krishna. That is mukti. So when we are engaged in service of the Lord under the direction of bona fide spiritual master, one is already liberated. This is liberation. This is more than liberation. What so-called liberation, which is understood that one becomes free from this bodily entanglement. So he doesn't have any feeling of pain. He is free from the suffering. That's what understood as a mukti. But there is no concept of, no understanding of how one can experience transcendental or divine happiness. That is only possible when we are engaged in devotional service. Therefore, devotional service is far superior than mukti. Mukti means just only absence of suffering. One becomes free from suffering, but still he is not able to experience a higher taste or divine happiness. But when we engage in the service of the Lord, immediately we start experiencing this happiness, bliss, which is derived, by the service itself. And when we are engaged in the service of the Lord under the bona fide spiritual master, then we see that we are we are free from suffering and we are experiencing. Mantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Kadipa Shtakopada ki jai.